Hello and welcome to Reserved Grace. My name is Angie Strader. Today I'm going to share something with you that I've never shared before. My full Tiffany collection. The designers, the hallmarks, and how you know what you're looking at when you see a piece at auction or you're out at an estate sale and your heart kind of skips a beat. Those are a few of the things I'm going to cover today. But I also want to share something with you I hadn't planned on sharing. 3 nights ago, I picked up this brooch and turned it over, really looked at it for the first time, and found something I hadn't seen before. Something that may have been hidden for 116 years. So we're going to do both education and discovery. And as you can see, what's education without visual aids? When people think of Tiffany, they think of the blue box. But behind this blue box are very talented designers. And a few of them changed everything. Louis Comfort Tiffany, Paloma Picasso, Elsa Peretti, Schlumberger, and Angela Cummings. Now I own pieces from most of the designers I just mentioned. Even one that I discovered last night that I still need to research, but I'll share more on that in just a little bit. It's really important that you know these designers and you know how to spot their work. Louis Comfort Tiffany, the son of Charles Louis Tiffany, the founder of Tiffany Co. He was the first design director at Tiffany. Most people know him for his lamps. You know those stained glass masterpieces that you hear about or see on public television that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Yeah, that's him, Louis Comfort Tiffany. Now, he was doing Egyptian revival before it was fashionable. In fact, twice. The first time in the 1800s and then again in 1922 when Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered. Now, obviously, his thing was glass. In fact, Fabroglass, a name that he trademarked, which means handmade, no two are the same, where the iridescence is on the inside of the glass, not on the outside, not painted on top, and that's how you know if it's real Tiffany glass. And I'm going to show you a Louis Comfort Tiffany piece in just a moment. And I'm not kidding. This is one of the most spectacular things that I've ever owned. But let me tell you about the other designers first, because context here really does matter. Elsa Peretti. She was an Italian model. She had no formal training in jewelry design, and yet she became one of the most influential jewelry designers of the 20th century. Elsa Peretti's designs were fluid and organic. If you've ever seen the bone cuff or the bean necklace or the open heart, that's Peretti. She believed that jewelry should be tactile, that you would want to touch it, and her pieces almost never had harsh edges. If you're out there hunting for vintage Peretti, look for sterling silver, organic shapes, and her signature, either Peretti or Elsa Peretti, stamped right next to Tiffany Co. And when it comes to Peretti, keep in mind that the pieces from the 70s and the 80s are the most collectible, the hardest to come by, and the most collectible. Paloma Picasso, the daughter of Pablo Picasso, the famous painter. It turns out that both her mother and her father were famous painters. She had a lot of pressure on her growing up. People always asked her if she was going to paint too. Well, no, she made her way as being one of the premier designers at Tiffany Co. Paloma Picasso joined Tiffany in the 80s, and she brought something completely different than Elsa Peretti. Where Peretti is organic and flowing and soft and no harsh edges, Paloma Picasso, completely different. When you think Paloma Picasso, think sharp edges, bold, graphic statements. Graphic, architectural. Paloma Picasso loved her X's and O's. A piece from my personal collection that I've had for many, many years is this charm bracelet by Paloma Picasso. Definitely one of my favorites. This one doesn't leave my side. We all know those pieces that are more personal. They have meaning and memories. Sure, we can find these pieces again, but are they ever really the same? According to Louis Comfort Tiffany, no two are ever the same. I agree with them. Paloma Picasso's pieces from the 80s are really the most collectible. That's what collectors are looking for. In fact, I have one right here. This is a Paloma Picasso rock crystal brooch. This is 49 millimeters of carved rock crystal. This is one stone, one master carver. And in the center is a green tourmaline and a peridot, embraced in 18 karat gold. Finding on the back, 18 karat gold, signed 1983, Tiffany Co. and Paloma Picasso. Now, before watching this video, if you saw this brooch or something like it at an estate sale or an online auction, would you have known what it was? Now you do. That's what this education's about. And one of the things about pieces like this, they don't lose their value. They don't have an expiration date. In fact, many of them only 1983, Tiffany Co. and Paloma Picasso. This is exactly what you're looking for when you're hunting vintage Tiffany, the designer stamp. And we're going to come back to that in just a little bit and talk about why that really matters. And now Schlumberger. His pieces are whimsical and fantastical. He was a master at enamel. He loved Pioneer enamel. In case you're wondering, I have learned a lot of these terms myself, so I'm going to put a cheat sheet in the description below. So Pioneer enamel, it is a luminous and almost translucent enamel over gold. If you come across a bird perched on a diamond by Tiffany Co., that's Schlumberger. You've also seen his pieces on Jackie Kennedy and Elizabeth Taylor. Look for Schlumberger on the back of the Tiffany Co. pieces. Now here's where it gets really practical. If you're at an auction or an estate sale and you see a piece that says Tiffany, how do you know what you're really looking at? I think about this in 3 tiers. Tier 1, it says Tiffany Co. and it's real, but there's no designer attribution. This is what most people own. It's authentic Tiffany, it's well made, but it's house design. It's a production piece. And a couple of pieces that I own, well, I own many of those pieces. And this being one of my favorites. This piece is signed Tiffany Co. Not just one side, but both sides. And on the inside, it is sterling silver, tested. That massive stone is tested citrine. Nobody specific designed it or signed their name to it. And this is a tier 1. Tier 2, authentic Tiffany and name designer. And this is where the value starts to climb. This is 18 karat gold, rubies, and it says Tiffany Co. That's it. No Paloma Picasso, no Schlumberger, no designer stamp. That makes this, honestly, I thought this was tier 1 when I bought it, but the quality, the weight, this just might be a tier 2, but an unsigned piece. And that's the thing. Sometimes you don't know until you start doing your research. This one is currently under review. 18 karat gold and the sparkling rubies. Intricate construction, masterful work. Signed Tiffany Co. And Is it a tier 2 or a really, really good tier 1? And tier 3. Like the rock crystal Paloma Picasso brooch. Tier 3 because it has the date, the designer, and Tiffany Co. That is a tier 3. And this is Louis Comfort Tiffany, circa 1909. It is 18 karat yellow gold. You have a scarab beetle in the center, and on both sides, masterful micro mosaic. And here's where things get very interesting. The micro mosaic is a Roman craft, and these are all placed by hand. And this isn't Egyptian, this is Roman style. And the scarab, now that's Egyptian, all wrapped in 18 karat gold by one of the world's greatest decorative artists, Louis Comfort Tiffany. 3 civilizations all in one. But here's where things really took a turn for me. I have owned this piece for just a little while. I have acquired this piece at auction because I wanted to own a piece of history. How many people can say that they own a piece like this? The son of the founder of Tiffany Co. and the first head designer at Tiffany Co., Louis Comfort Tiffany. But something about this piece just, I always knew it was special for more than just those reasons, if those reasons weren't enough. And just 3 nights ago, while doing authentication on this piece, I noticed something interesting that I hadn't seen before. So right here on the pin, you'll see Tiffany Co. It's handwritten right here. It was before Tiffany Co. was stamped. But as I was looking at the pin, I noticed something right underneath it. Now you may be able to see the flash right on the bottom of the center stone. Let me step back and explain something to you about this center stone. Remember I said Louis Comfort Tiffany was known for his glass work. So not only did he use his Favril glass for his lamps and things like that, he used it in his jewelry. So this scarab, as I bought it, is glass. As I was looking at this, I started to see something, and you might be able to see it now too. Do you see that little flash right underneath the pin? And as I got closer, I almost fell out. This has an intaglio on the underside of this scarab. So when I bought this piece at an online auction, 2 pictures, that's all I had was 2 pictures to look at. I bought it because of the history. I bought it because of, I mean, let's be real, it's history and it's Louis Comfort Tiffany. But it was sold to me as glass. And like I said, I knew it was special. But I didn't know just how special until now. When I saw the intaglio on the underside of the scarab, I did what I am known to do. I got out my microscope. Yes, I have a microscope, and I'm not afraid to use it. And neither should you be afraid to use a microscope. But what I didn't know, and I don't think anyone knows until now, on the underside of this scarab, the intaglio, which there's a lot of different discussions about who this actually is, who this figure actually is. There are thoughts that it's Apollo. There's several different discussions about who that figure is. Now, intaglios were used as on rings or pieces of jewelry to use as stamps, as a seal. The thought is that that is a figure of a man sitting, working on, it's basically construction. That's one of the theories. But here's another layer to this, because it just keeps going. It keeps, I mean, if there's a tier 4, 5, or 10, we're there on this piece. And let me tell you why. But also let me tell you, because I feel it's really important for me to share this. As soon as I figured out what I'm about to tell you, the very next morning, this went from my personal vault, which there is a vault, to a safe deposit box. And I contacted my insurance and put an additional rider on this piece. And I'm very serious. And I'm sharing this with you because one is a deterrent, right? Obviously, I want people to know that these pieces are not hanging out in my house. But also because I want you to know, if you come across something like this, don't take it lightly. Do your research, but keep it safe. This is a piece of history, something that nobody had discovered all these years, 116 years. This scarab, that's not glass. I bought it as glass, but it's not glass. That is a real ancient carnelian artifact. And here's the story that I've put together so far. Louis Comfort Tiffany was a traveler and a collector, a massive collector. He loved, like I said before, he loved Egyptian before Egyptian was cool. And he was known to use his own personal pieces in his prototypes. And then he would fashion the glass after the piece, whatever he put in here. And so in this case, the scarab that is seen in this particular brooch, in this pin, was this just gets me every time, that I literally just gets me. This is the real deal. This is a carnelian scarab, not Egyptian revival, but original. Scarabs had two sides. This is an original artifact. And how many years did this brooch go unnoticed and being passed on? From maybe one owner prior to the auction house I bought it at. I don't think anybody would notice. If they noticed that, they would not sell it for the price I paid for it. You can see how LCT used this piece to fashion the glass to make it look similar. But when you look, just go online, and if you look, I'll put some links in the description, that you can see how different the glass looks versus the real carnelian. And of course, the glass does not have the reverse intaglio. So what does someone do with a piece like this when they just find out that it's this special? Besides not sleep for like 2 days straight because I can't think of anything else. Well, I have reached out to famous auction houses that specialize in pieces like this to really get the background on this, but I also feel like this is a piece that needs to be seen beyond a little box where it currently sits. It needs to be seen, it needs to be appreciated, and it's mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. So the lesson: 1, trust your instincts. I knew it was Tiffany. I knew it was Louis Comfort Tiffany, and I knew it was a prototype. I did know that it was a prototype, that it wasn't signed by Louis Comfort Tiffany, but had all of the hallmarks and Somewhere in the provenance, it was documented that it was a prototype of Louis Comfort Tiffany. Look deeper, find the history. What era was that piece? Now this was circa 1909, which just boggles the mind just right there. Remember, things are not always as they appear. I had 2 photographs. That's it. I didn't see it in person. I fell in love with the history, the story behind it. But I didn't know just how important this piece is. Nobody did. Had I not taken that one little extra step and looked beyond the pin, had I not seen that just that little something was different, I still have chills. I get goosebumps. It's exciting. The Paloma Picasso, exciting. I love this piece. It is also a piece of history, and I'm glad I know the hallmarks. And this piece, I can't wait to get the final details on this one. And a piece that I didn't know until literally just before filming today. This little butterfly, until just before filming today, I didn't think that I had an Angela Cummings piece, or I wasn't sure if I had an Angela Cummings piece. And I do. This little butterfly is by one of the premier designers at Tiffany, Angela Cummings. So I do have an Angela Cummings that is confirmed. I have a Paloma Picasso. I have lots of Paloma Picassos. I have lots of Elsa Perettis. I have a lot of Tiffany Co original pieces. People know these as Tiffany, but they're not attributed to a specific designer, unlike Elsa Peretti or any of these other pieces here that you see. Once you know what to look for, and not just with Tiffany, in general, in your hunt, your search out there, when you're looking for a special piece, you want to look for the hallmarks. You want to know the designers. Whether you are a serious collector, beginning collector, or you just love beautiful jewelry, which has been my history, you want to know what to look for. The main thing I want you to please understand is if you love it, get it. Whether it's signed or not signed. It may be attributed to a famous, world-renowned designer or not. If you love it, get it. Enjoy it for the design, the appeal. And there's so much more I could tell you on these pieces. Be on the lookout. This is a very rare Tiffany piece. And I got this in a bulk jewelry box. So you never know. Keep your eye out when you're going through. Take the time. Really take your time. I know if you know my videos, you know some of my videos are long. But you also know I am doing the research. My estimation is I paid $5 for this at the most, and I don't care. Even if I paid more, I love it for the coolness factor. It is a cool bracelet, no matter what. Very cool. Moral of the story, things are not always as they appear. Look closer. If you love it, get it. If you never do any other research on it, so be it. If you just happen to stumble across something that you just know there's something about it, trust your instincts and dig deeper. You may just find that you have found a priceless artifact hidden within an heirloom piece created by a world-renowned designer and somehow it ended up in the suburbs in Texas. I'll let you know. I'll let you know where this goes from here. In the meantime, thank you so much for being here. If you are a collector, or if you have always wanted to own a piece of Tiffany, many of the pieces that you see here will be available on reservedgrace.com. Many, not all. Okay, if you've felt that you've gained anything from this video, if you've enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe, because that's what lets me know I'm on the right track of doing the content that you want to see. Because next, I'm doing a deep dive on Chanel. And just like the visual aids that I have for Tiffany, I'll be bringing the Chanel pieces as well. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And no matter what, have fun and enjoy the journey. Again, my name is Angie with Reserved Grace. Like, subscribe, come back for more. Bye.